Welcome to the Father Knowts podcast, and I am your host, Warren W. Patten Jr., or you can call me Father Patten. Father Knowts is an informational style podcast created to give fathers a voice in their family structure. I encourage fathers to take back fatherhood and shake the trees of tradition to create a stronger family unit. We'll also delve into men's health, leadership, mentorship, and so much more. Okay, men, it's time to be a better father on purpose. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, fathers. It's Father Patten. Yes, I got to get my microphone a little bit closer because I want you to hear this. This is good stuff. This episode is a special edition episode of Father Knowts. I want to recap the first 5 episodes because I want you to really get an opportunity to go back and listen to them closely. Take some notes. Even get the book called Father Knowts, Being a Better Father on Purpose. It has pages in it to where you can take notes. I've thought of everything. So make sure you follow along. But I want to make sure that you can grasp some of the things that a father can do to make things better in the family home, in the family unit. It is so crucial that we take charge of what's happening in the family. I'm not saying that the wife is taking charge. You should be a team, but you have to make sure that things are going a certain way. And I think I've given you a lot of information over the last 5 episodes. So I'm going to start with each one and give you just a few highlights on each one of the podcast episodes. All right, here we go. Let's start with podcast number 1. Now, podcast episode 1 was more of an introductory to Father Knowts. But one of the things that I talked about is shake the trees of tradition. That is a lot there. Because we as humans, we put a lot of value on tradition. Yet as we evolve as humans, and we do, I think we should shake the trees of tradition. Trees are very strong and they hold a lot of meaning. For every family tree, get it? Did you get that? Family tree? I know you did. Stay with me. So the family tree has a lot of branches, it has a lot of roots, it has a lot of leaves, and it has flowers. We won't go into detail, but just put it in perspective of a family. Your family has all of those things, and the roots are very important. And sometimes with the storms that may come, the tree might have some adversity. Some adversity. But the father has to keep things under control. And the father is the one that can do it with the assistance from the mother of the children. Not going to say wife because everybody doesn't have a wife. It would be great if everybody did have a partner in the home with you. But I know that's not always the case. So in order for things to be balanced, this is where the father can really help out and make things a little bit calm. So when we say shake the trees of tradition, we have to think back as fathers what we went through growing up. And we have to make a decision on whether we're going to go by what was happening or are we going to change things for the better for our children. And because things may have been bad for you or good for you as a son, you may think there's some things you could do different than your father and your mother. So that's what I'm talking about with shaking the trees of tradition. Don't just hold on to all of those old traditions. Create new traditions. You can do that in your family unit. I always say the father is the positive presence. There's going to be some trying times in a family, and the father has to be the one that says, okay, let's make things, it's going to be all right. Let's bring it down a notch. Let's take it up a notch. Let's celebrate over here. Let's celebrate over there. We might have to get a little discipline in the house That's what a father does without going crazy. Now, episode 1 really talks about everything that we're going to talk about with the Father Knows podcast. But that was the theme of the first episode, shaking the trees of tradition. You can learn a little bit more about my upbringing as a son and a father if you would go to YouTube, TEDx Talks Orange Mound, and you'll see my TEDx talk. I talked about my past and how I decided to shake the trees of tradition and change things on what I wanted to do with my family and my sons. Because remember, we got married first and we waited before we decided to have children. So we did a lot of discussion about what we're going to do. What's the plan? How we're going to make this work? How we're going to be a united front. Ooh, I threw a new one at you. A united front for our sons. That's what it's all about. I just want you to think on that. How can you create the positive environment in the family unit and shake the trees of tradition so that things can be better? They can't be the same. There's no way you can manage your family like your father did 20 years ago, 30 years ago. My stepfather was 40 years older than me. He had a whole different mindset about tradition. I went along with a lot of it, but I had to make things different for my family. Because we're talking decades later. My father, my biological father, was 20 years older than me. Totally different generation. And I'm in the same boat now. My sons are younger and they're experiencing brand new things in this real world. And I expect them to create different traditions with their families. And they are. We got to be open to that. That's a recap for episode 1. Let's move swiftly to episode 2. Episode 2 was about hearing and listening. And I used my book called Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose. I'm going to throw that at you several times because I want you to get the copy, of course. But I used my book to talk a little bit about that. But the overall theme about hearing and listening, a father must set the tone in the home. Yes, father, set the tone in your home. A father has to create boundaries for everyone, for everything. If you don't have boundaries in your home, you have chaos, you have confusion. I'm just telling you. Now, some people love chaos and confusion. Not everybody does. And if you don't like it, create boundaries in your home. And as a father, as you set the tone in your home, you increase the security in your home. Yes, and that's the role of a father. You got to bring that safety and security. And if you set the tone, it is there. Everyone understands. Everyone knows when to be very quiet. Father is speaking. And you don't have to say those ugly words like shut up, be quiet. Just your presence alone, they know the tone is set. When the father sets the tone in their home, there is balance. And that's what a great family unit needs, is balance. Well, the mother and the father, or I'll stick with the mother and the father. The mother and the father are on the same page, on the same accord, have the same goals. And if there is a discussion that needs to be had, it's not done with high emotions. It's done with a balanced attack. And as your children get older, the balance shifts just a little bit because you have to include your child in the decision making. Oh, I got raised where you only speak when spoken to. You remember that? I know. There's a time and place for that. You have to allow your children to have a voice. And parents have to know when that time is. When you start including them on the decision making process, that prepares them for life in the real world. They got to be able to make decisions without you, father, and without you, mother. That's where the balance comes in. Also, as the father sets the tone for their home, a father has routines that everyone can follow. It makes it easier for things to happen on time. Ooh, that word time. Ooh, time is so very important when you have several children. If you have one child, time is so important. And routines help establish control, structure to where everyone knows what everyone is supposed to do. And it reduces the blame game. Heavy. I didn't do it. He did. She did it. Oh, I did not want to hear those songs. I did it. She did it. I didn't do it. Not me. Who did it? No, 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 no. Let it go. When you have routines, it minimizes how much blame can be given. I'm going to pause for a second. I'm telling you, if you have routines, assignments, chores, it reduces the amount of blame that can go around. So people won't be asking that crazy question. Who left these dishes in the sink? Oh my goodness. There should be no question. Whose week is it? It's on the calendar. That's who the dishes belong to. Going to wash the dishes this week. Routines. I'm going to keep on going because episode 2 was fire. Okay. Now, I gave you set the tone, Father. Set the tone in your home. But in order to do that, Father, you have to make the choice to use your voice. Now, you know that's going to be a challenge because mother is always talking. Mother is always talking. But Father, you better speak up. You got to be able to talk with the best of them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but we as men have to be okay with allowing our voice to be heard and not waiting for things to get crazy. Talk along with everything that's going on. Allow your voice to be present in the home. That's that's it. And then when things get a little bit crazy, your voice should be able to bring it down. Slow it down. It's going to be okay. Don't be afraid to speak up at any time. You created this family unit, so you should have a voice about every decision that's made. But you got to be clear on the compromise. Father has to know how to compromise. But when things get rough and things get tough, times get hard, Father, make the choice to use your voice. You got to monitor the temperature in your home. Yes, sometimes people can turn that dial up to number 10, number 15, and if the temperature is getting hot and you got to be able to come in, wave your magic wand and bring your father voice as low as you can get it. Let's calm it down. Whatever you need to do. Sometimes all you got to do is walk in the room. Walk in the room. And you can see the temperature start to get real chilly. But that's if you have established boundaries, established security, established balance, established routines. You can do that. So, episode 2 was all about setting the tone in your home and making the choice to use your voice. Next, episode 3. I think all of them were very good, but episode 3 was about learning the lesson. Ooh, man, I tell you the truth. There are so many situations happening, and we as fathers have to be able to help our children learn the lesson, not beat them up about everything they did wrong. We got to be able to find a teachable moment and say, hey, what did you learn from this situation? You just bumped your head. Did you learn a lesson? Hmm. Let me give you an example. I learned a lesson a long time ago. I was just a little boy, and my uncle was 2 years older than me, and he got a new bicycle, and it had the handlebars that come up, the upright handlebars. It was the first time I had seen one, and I wanted to ride. He told me I could not ride it. But I had made plans. I'm gonna get that bike. And he set it down for a few minutes, went in the house, and I was waiting. I jumped on that bike and I went flying. And I knew how to ride a bike, but didn't think about the braking and the bumps on the sidewalk. And I'm flying. And I tell you, when I got in front of the house, my grandmother and my mother were sitting on the porch, and I said, "Look at me!" And I hit a bump in the curb, and I went over the bump. But those upright handlebars? That's when they had the brakes on the handlebars. I panicked and hit those brakes. I want to tell you, I was Superman for a few minutes. I flew over the handlebars. And then when I woke up, because I don't remember landing, when I woke up, I had a knot on my head and an ice pack, on my head. And I learned a valuable lesson. Don't take something that does not belong to you unless you get shown how to use it. I mean, my uncle was mad. Luckily, his bike was not damaged very much. Handlebars was crooked. You know that. But I learned a valuable lesson. I never did that again. I wanted to get me a bicycle with the handlebars so I could learn. But that time, I learned a valuable lesson. I don't know how long I was out. I don't know if concussion was even important back then. Ice on the head. That was it. No going to the hospital. He'll be all right. Is he breathing? Lessons must be learned. And Father, you have to find those teachable moments so that they understand what they should have done, should not have done, and what to be looking for. This is the key to what they should be looking for. A father should help their children navigate the influences in the real world. And it's a bunch of influences out there, especially now with social media. Come on. Come on, Father. You can't be slacking. You got to be on top of your game. And as a father, I'm involved in social media as much as I did not want to. With my age, I don't need to be involved in social media, but I have to in order to understand what my sons are going through. I don't mind learning a little bit about Facebook, TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn from my work job, but hey, I'm not working anymore, but I still have LinkedIn. Instagram, yes, I know a little bit about it. I do, I dab in a little bit of TikTok. Yes, I do. But in order to stay prevalent and shake the trees of tradition, I have to be able to up to date with my sons because they can run circles around me with social media. But sometimes I shock them with how much I know. But I got to be able to help them navigate the influences of the real world. And that's how we do it. As fathers, we got to stay up to date, man. We got to stay up to date. Can't be a dinosaur too quick. Also, with learning the lesson, when we find those teachable moments, you got to give sound judgment without being judgmental. Did you hear me? You have to give sound judgment without being judgmental. We are very good. We grow up in families that are so judgmental. That's just all it is. Let me give you some example. The first thing out of when a child does something, most of the time parents will say things that's so condescending. I know what you was up to. I know what you was trying to do. I know you hurt your head, didn't you? I know. That's all judgment. That's all judgment. That'll learn you, darn you. You heard that one, haven't you? Mm-hmm. What is it? It's so many cliches. Hard head make a soft behind. You heard judgment. All sound nice, but you can't just say it to every child at every age. They grow up. When do we, as fathers, as parents, grow up with them and allow them to be the age that they are? But when they're real little, yes, you can get away with some of those cute phrases. But as they grow up, it doesn't work. That'll learn you, darn you. That doesn't work at all. So that's why I say use those teachable moments and talk to them about learning the lesson. Let's go back to Father Notes, the book, Being a Better Father on Purpose. That's why I put lines in the book so that you can take notes, you and your child, specifically your son, but you and your child can take notes about the lesson that they learned on that topic. And I had to take notes with my sons because as they aged, I had to make sure I stayed with each one at their age. When one son was 14, the next son was 12, the next sons were about 4, but 10. I had to be able to stay current on their age group, what they were going through at that time, and evolve with them and not hold a 8-year-old as accountable as a 15-year-old. Did you hear me? Not hold an 8-year-old just as accountable as a 15-year-old. That's the way it is. We have to be able to think outside of the box and create those teachable moments so our sons will really understand it. Boy, my father's on top of it. He does not miss anything. And he's talking to me, not talking to me like I'm 8, talking to me like I'm 15. That's the key. Meet them where they are. Ooh, that was a tough one there. That was episode 3. Now, episode 4. Woo. I'm going to give you a Father Notes quote because I created some good quotes that I think will get out there one day. I don't know. I think they're pretty good. We have a lot of quotes and cliches that people use from back in the day, and I do mean way back in the day. Some are way back in the day. But as far as me shaking the trees of tradition, I've already created my own cliches that I share with my sons. And here's one from episode 4. My common sense and your common sense do not make sense. Yes, you got to think about it now. That's heavy. That's deep. Now, I say that because all of us were raised in different households at different times. And even your brothers and sisters, even though you might have been in the same home, you have different beliefs and different mindsets about what's going on in that home. And everybody didn't learn how to sweep floors and mop floors and wash dishes. Some children got away with doing nothing. And the oldest did everything, or the youngest, or the middle child. It's so many. So when we say that don't make sense, use your common sense. No more of that. There's no more common sense. Everything is different. We're not going to even put in the cultural changes, the cultural differences. Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. We don't do anything the same. So how can there be common sense? Let me ask you again. How can there be common sense? We have to use a little logic. Oh, yeah, a little logic will help. But that's if you, as a parent, are working with them on reasoning skills, logical skills. This is the time where we talk about common sense. Well, the fathers should show up when it's time to have those discussions about making sense. What makes sense in this moment? Because it may not be the same decision making as 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What makes sense right now? That's where you can start to find the logic, and maybe it'll become common sense. I don't know. But that's if you're having the discussion about each situation individually and what makes sense about this particular situation. That's when you can actually get logic and reasoning into the picture and allow your children to mature the way they should. Instead of the first thing out of their mouth, I'm gonna call mama. No. Okay, if I can't call mama, I'm gonna call dad. No, 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 no. It's still not. They should be able to make some decisions. And after they make a decision, if they want to notify mother and father on what they did, that's great. But don't call mother and father because you don't know how to make a decision. You should have some logic and some reasoning. But that has to be taught by the parents along the way. Oh, yeah. Now, when it comes to common sense, a father should help the son speak up because in a home, sometimes, and I'm talking about males now, we don't have many words, real world. We don't have many words. We will sit there and not say 2 words for all through dinner, but we have to be able to ask the right questions, encourage our sons to speak up. Now, I've heard, because I don't have a daughter, I've heard daughters can talk. Don't need no help. But sons, we have to be, as parents, give them an opportunity to talk. And then when they get frustrated because they can't get their words out quick enough, we got to shut the room down and allow them to speak. And when I talked about on episode 4, when mother or a woman is asking rapid fire questions, we got to say, ask our son one question at a time. Don't ask 9 questions at once. You got to ask one question and let our son answer that question. Next question, let him answer it. Next question. Now, that's going to frustrate mother, wife, mother. It's going to frustrate. Okay. That's how we evolve. Get the emotions under control and respect the son's right to speak up. And father, you got to be right in the middle of that. You got to hit pause on everything. Did you just ask him a question? Give him a chance to answer. Because sometimes people ask a question and then answer it for you. Oh, my goodness. Oh, is that not the most frustrating thing? I bet you're going to the store, ain't you? What you going to buy? I know what you're going to buy. Ooh. Sometimes you got to put a pause on it, father, and allow your son to have a voice. That's all I'm talking about. Now, when it comes to sense, common sense, what's making sense, the only thing that really makes sense is cash money. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to let you think about that. Ooh, I'm getting excited. I'm all fired up. Have I broke a sweat yet? Just a little bit. That's okay. Because we got one more episode to go. Woo! Episode 5. Now, episode 5 was a doozy. It's about family identity. Ooh, I broke open the book, Father Notes, Being a Better Father on Purpose. And I read straight from the book, people. Yes, I did. Father, I read straight from the book because when I wrote it, I was in a zone. I was in my feelings about these key words I want to tell you about. So I had to read straight from the book in order for you to understand my whole mindset. There's much more to it, but I just wanted to really talk about establishing family identity in episode 5. So I would say use the word child or son versus boy. That word boy, it has a lot of power, and we give it a lot of power. So many undertones. And I listed them on episode 5. So you have to go back and look at episode 5 or listen to episode 5 and see all of the ways the word boy is used. And not too many of them are positive. But you can't go wrong when you use the word child or son when referring to your children. I'm going to tell you, I'm even getting rid of the word kids. That's just me. I'm crazy that way, and I am unapologetic. I use child, children, son, daughter. That's just the way I am. And I think it makes it easier for the family unit to communicate when you use those terms, child, son, and not boy, because boy brings on disrespect. Just like girl, depending on how you use it now. I'm not saying the two words are disrespectful. No, no, no. Don't misunderstand. It's just about how we use it. People can use the word that can really be helpful, but you don't hear boy-in-law. You hear son-in-law. You don't hear girl-in-law, daughter-in-law. See, those are the terms that never get messed up. But sometimes with other things, we can throw it off. We say paper boy because it's used as a servant. Paper boy, ball boy, not ball son. It's when they're actually doing something, that's when you use boy. But like I said, listen to episode 5 to get a little bit more clarity. Now that's the word boy. I don't recommend using that. Now, I'll admit, when they were younger, we did say little boy. Pick your shoes up, little boy. But then as time went on, I said we need to use their names because we gave them names and we have to use their names. Now it's weird. All of our sons' names started with a J. So that was a challenge, but I love their names. But I encourage with my wife, the mother of the children, let's use their names. Let's stop using the word boy for everything. Because sometimes when you say boy, all 5 of them look. Boy. But when you call a name, only one looks. I'm just saying, create family identity. As my sons got a little older, I started addressing them as Mr. Patten. And I wanted them to address me as Mr. Patten. I wanted them to get used to that formal name that they have, that we have given them. Now, we're going to transition into using father versus dad or daddy. Don't misunderstand. Ain't nothing wrong with dad and daddy. But if you listen to episode 5, you'll get some details about the reason to use father, because a father is responsible for everything that has to do with having the children, taking care of the children. Don't let me bring the list of protect, provide a home, safety and security. I don't want to give you that list. You already know. But sometimes daddy is comes and go. Sometimes. But father, if you've made the choice to have these children, you should be there. You should be there, responsible for taking care of everything. So I asked my sons, after they got to a certain age, to start addressing me as father. And I would address them as son. And it sounds so much better out in the real world. It really does. And remember now, I'm saying this because I am too a son. And I have my mother and father, and they're still alive. They don't live together. But I've been working on them for years to call me son. My mama used to call me baby. I don't want to even go into that. I'm still working through the trauma. But she is so much better now. She has come around. She addresses me as son, and I address her as mother. I address my father as father, and he now calls me son. No more baby. That's my boy. No more boy. I'm a grown man. Address me as your son. You had me. I am your son. I was a boy. I am now a man, but I'm still your son. You see what I'm talking about when it comes to family identity? I think it's easy. I think it's clear. But when we throw in those terms of endearment, ooh, baby, honey, sugar, oh, that's when things get really confusing. But I'm not going to dial in on that. I'm going to allow you to go back to episode number 5 and take a listen and take a look. Because I act up. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Now, there's one more thing, and I think I tapped on it just a little bit. I say, please don't call me baby. Yes, that's what mama used to introduce me. I was a grown man. And I'd take her somewhere, or we'd go to church or whatever. She said, this is my baby, Warren. This is my baby. I said, oh, mother. We had to have a discussion about that. And you know she was mad. You don't tell me. You gonna always be. I said, I understand. Yes, I understand. Those same old traditions that's been going on for years. She started repeating them to me. I'm your mama. I had you. And you don't need to hear it because you've heard it yourself. Probably listening to it right now. I just said, mother, with respect, you are my mother. I don't even call you mama. You are my mother. I am no longer a boy. And I'm not your baby. I'm grown. Please address me as your son. Or you can call me Warren. You gave me that name too, thank you. And it took a long time. But all I had to do is when I show up, I call her mother. And it took a while. She was calling me baby. I didn't say anything. She would see the look on my face. Not mad, just waiting on the day. Then one time we went to church, she must have introduced me to 10 people. And before I knew it, she was saying son to everybody. I didn't even catch it at first. She said, hey, Miss Jones, I want you to meet my son. Mr. Bell, yes, I want you to meet my son. I was just walking, and because she had a little walker, and I'm making sure she's safe and not missing a step. And then all of a sudden it hit me. Did she say influence? I'm telling you, influence. Positive influence, though. That's what I'm talking about. It worked. So in episode 5, just to wrap it up, it's about the family identity. Using better terms to help your family understand their identity. Ooh, that's what it's all about. I hope you get an opportunity to go back to listen to episode number 1, Shake the Trees of Tradition. Episode number 2, Hearing and Listening. Episode number 3, Learning the Lesson. Episode number 4, My common sense and your common sense do not make sense. And episode number 5, Family Identity. Father, we have to stay present, intentional, enthusiastic. I hope I'm showing that I'm enthusiastic. I hope so. And you have to have passion about being a father. Regardless of anything that's going on. And you have to, if you're insistent about being the best father you can be, you can really control the drama. I'm just telling you. You can control the drama because everyone sees that you're trying to make things right. And the bad things will find their way out or they will change. Will find their way out or they will change. All right. Now, I've talked about my book and I'm going to continue to talk about that book. Father Knowts, Being a Better Father on Purpose. You can find it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online, or you can go to my website, www.warrenwpattenjr.com. You can order a copy from me. Of course, you can do that. But in that book, we also celebrate national holidays for men. We just had Mother's Day, and it was everywhere. I saw people on the corners, on the parking lot selling baskets and everything. It was, all of the women were having their day. Great. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. Yes, indeed. But we need to celebrate more holidays when it comes to men because you don't even know some of the holidays that are coming around. So that's my job. Father Pat, to let you know, coming soon, May 24th is National Brothers Day. This is where we celebrate brothers. I'm a brother. I have a brother. I have friends that have been in my life for so many years. They are my brothers. Each one of them will hear from me this week. I'm not going to wait till May 24th. I'm not. I will celebrate May 24th, but I will celebrate before then and let them know. National Brothers Day, and I'm recognizing you, my brother, and I do tell them I love them because my brothers, we are about business and we understand each other. And I have 5 sons, so they already really stay in touch, but they will know National Brothers Day is coming up. I hope you call your brother. Even if you haven't talked to him, give him a call. Text him. Send him an email. You don't have to have a conversation. Just say, brother, I'm thinking about you and I love you. That's it. They may not even respond back. Don't even worry about it. Sometimes I don't hear back from my brothers. They may be busy. I might hear from them a month later, but that's okay. No judgment. Just long as you do what you think is right. So here's Father Patten letting you know of a national holiday that's just as important as Mother's Day. Let's get to it. We need to celebrate. Now I'm going to sign off because I can keep on going, but this is episode number 6. I am so thrilled to be able to do a recap of the first 5 because I want you to go back and take a listen. And when it gets down to it, I hope you really understand the importance of fathers taking back fatherhood and shaking the trees of tradition. Now I'm going to go ahead and go, and I'm going to get prepared for the next episode. But I hope I help you here, and you get that book, and you start taking fatherhood seriously. I will catch you later. Father Patten, out. Thanks for joining the Father Knows podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at 1W Patten Jr. That's Patten Jr. Follow our socials on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Father, make the choice to use your voice.